Hey guys, and welcome back to another trip tested product review running through the setup that we use to travel Australia full time. Today we're taking a look at one of the more expensive last minute additions I made to the D-Max before we set off from home, which was my 23 Zero Falcon Xtreme 270-degree awning, which we use pretty much every single day on our travels, so I feel like I know it pretty well. Before we get started, I do want to mention that I paid full price for this awning. I have no affiliation with 23 Zero whatsoever, no affiliate links, no discount codes or nothing, unfortunately. The main purpose of this video is just let you guys know how it performed for us on the road, the things we liked, the things we disliked, as well as just some tips and tricks we picked up along the way that weren't clear when we first got it. Hopefully it answers any questions you guys had about this awning, but if not, let me know in that comment section down below and I'll get back to you as soon as I can. So taking a close look at the awning, as I mentioned, this is the Falcon Xtreme model, which at the time was actually the latest and greatest from 23 Zero, but I believe now there's a newer, even more premium version. It's what I call the 270 plus design, which basically means we just get this extra front section just here. And that was really important to me for a couple of reasons. Number one, obviously it does provide us with a bit of shade over these left-hand doors. And when it was raining, that was super handy for our travels. It meant we could actually get in, get our stuff out of these left doors without getting too wet. And number two, probably more importantly, it means the awning arms completely clear that canopy door. Whereas with standard 270s, most of the time you get a pole that kind of comes on an angle across here. And then when you open up your canopy door, it would bash on that pole. Whereas with this design, the canopy door actually opens up completely between those arms, giving us maximum height. And for someone of the taller variety like myself, I definitely need all the height I can possibly get. So that was basically a non-negotiable for me. As you can see, the awning can be used totally freestanding like it is right now with no legs down, and it does stand up to a decent amount of wind. It's continually surprised me in that department. But that being said, most nights we did tend to drop the legs down just for that peace of mind. And to do so, super easy. Let me spin the camera around eventually. The legs are actually built into each of the arms. There's one on every single one of the four different arms, and dropping them down is super easy. Bit of Velcro strap there, twist to release, drops down. If I had two hands, let's see if I can do it with one. Oh, there we go. Locks in place just like that. So quite easy to get those legs set up there as well. Now, in my opinion, the most important thing about any awning setup is how quick it is to set up and get it ready for use. So let me quickly pack this away and I'll run you through that setup procedure. Alrighty, so to set this awning up nice and simple, we'll just undo our big main zipper here. At the front, there is also a Velcro flap we need to undo like that. Get that zip fully undone and then just flip this bag over the top so it's out of the way entirely. From here, the awning itself is actually held up using these 3 Velcro straps, 1, 2, and 3. So we'll undo all 3 of those straps and then just let that material fold down like so. Now, being the 270 plus, you'll notice when we start folding it out, there is 2 very different sections. We have the rear just here and also the front on the left just there. We're gonna set the front up first. I found that works the best. Now, these straps are normally stored separately, but we just found that it's kind of just a bit more convenient storing them folded up in with the awning, and they still fit in the bag quite easily. So from here, we'll just take the other end of that strap, grab the front pole and just walk this around the vehicle. Now we need to find somewhere to clip this end. So I found it works best just clipping it to my roof basket like that. And now I'll just tighten this a little bit, but nothing too crazy because we'll tighten it properly afterwards. Chuck that cord down the other side. And now I'm gonna come around to the rear of the awning and basically do the same thing. So we find our rear strap just here and bring the rear of the awning around the vehicle. Once again, finding somewhere to put this bit of the strap. So again, my roof basket there works really well. And now we can actually tighten this one fully. So give it a tighten there. And I found it also helps putting a hand up here and just giving it a bit of a pull to get that nice and tight. From here, we can actually duck back around to the front and tighten this front section fully. Once again, putting a hand up on this section just here to allow us to put a bit more strength and get that awning nice and tight. Basically, the tighter you get those straps, the more taut and the more wind resistant that awning is gonna be. Next up, we're gonna run through a bunch of things we like and also dislike about this awning based on our usage experience. And Bianca and I have both worked together on this list, so I might occasionally reference my phone to make sure I'm not leaving anything out. But the first thing on the list is kind of what you just saw, and it's the ease of setup and also pack away. And I find that makes such a massive difference with camping products, because for me personally, if if it's frustrating or time consuming to actually get set up to a usable level, I'm just not going to use the product as much as I'd like to normally be able to. But with this, it takes literally 1 to 2 minutes to get it fully set up. And when you're packing it away, the bag is nice and generously sized. So I found it was never too much of an issue to get it to fit back into the bag and get that zipper done up. Whereas I have seen other awnings when you kind of have to really squeeze that bag closed to make that zip meet so you can actually zip it shut. So for convenience, this one definitely ticks the box for me. Number 2 is the amount of coverage we get from this awning, not just because it is that 270 plus design that also wraps around the front of the vehicle, sort of, but also because it has an extra arm on the rear section than some other 270-degree awnings. It's a bit hard to explain, but it is one of the main reasons I chose the Falcon Xtreme over the Falcon Pro from 23Zero, and I will kind of overlay a diagram of both awnings together so you can kind of see what I mean. But the extra arm gives you a bunch of extra shade over the rear section of the vehicle, and for us on the road, we were cooking a fair bit on that rear trundle drawer of the canopy, so having a bit of extra shade above was a welcome change. And it also allows you to have a zipper built into the back of the awning to get up to any rear entry rooftop tents. Beyond that though, if you are living out of a car full-time traveling Australia and you're not towing a caravan and you're not towing a camper trailer, the more shade you can get, the better. Number 3 is that I love the fact that it can be used totally freestanding like it is right now if the winds are low, or even better, non-existent. And that's great for a couple of reasons. Number 1, obviously if you pull over for lunch, it's just so much quicker and convenient to spend a minute, chuck it around the car, and you've got a bunch of shade ready to go if the winds are low. And number 2, which is probably more important to me personally, is it just gives me a ton more peace of mind. If it is quite windy, during that phase when you're bringing it around the vehicle, no legs are dropped down yet because you're still kind of doing up those straps, you got that more peace of mind to know that it is rock solid and sturdy, and it can take a little bit of wind while you're finishing tethering it to the car. Then you can come around, drop those legs down, and you're good to go. Whereas with those slightly more lightweight awnings that do require the legs to be dropped down, I have tested quite a few of those in the past, and it's always in my mind, even when it's not crazy windy, that like when you're walking around the vehicle, all it would take is one gust to get underneath and whip that straight over the car. Number 4 is that for its price point, the quality of this awning definitely seems to have stood the test of time based on everything we've subjected the poor thing to. The canvas material that the whole awning is made up from is nice and thick, and it's got a nice black coating underneath there as well, which does a great job of cutting out light, but also heat as well. The main framework of the awning has definitely stood the test of time as well. Nothing's kind of bent or warped or out of shape, and we've had this set up through some pretty crazy wind. And also all the tie down points and the Velcro straps and whatnot, they're all nice and thick and heavy duty, and as a result we've never had anything break. Number 5 is that the awning comes with integrated legs built into every single one of those arms going around the whole of the awning, and that was something I was particularly looking out for when selecting an awning for the D-Max, because it's one of those things that I knew when the conditions get windy, you're going to be setting up those legs all the time, and having to get them out of a separate bag or stored somewhere separately entirely every time you wanted to use them sounded like a real hassle to me. Whereas with these, the legs are all built in and ready to go, and I also like the fact there's legs on every single one of those arms, whereas I have seen with some other awnings on the market, they just give you 1 or 2 legs in strategic locations around the awning, whereas with this you get legs the whole way around. And finally, number 6 is actually something that quite surprised me with this awning, because it does come with lights built into every single one of those legs. It just runs off like a USB power point. It's one of those things that when I saw it on the spec sheet, I was like, yeah, cool, but I've got plenty of lights built into the canopy setup. How useful are they going to be? And I tell you what, they give off the nicest amount of light. There's a couple of different color settings, white or kind of like a warm white, but some nights we would actually set the awning up just to get the lighting, because it gives you such a nice even amount of light the whole way around camp. It's the only light source I have for the rear under tray trundle drawer there as well, so it was honestly so useful, and with a bunch of different dimming settings as well. It's quite power efficient and just a really nice amount of light. Alrighty, moving on to the things that we dislike about this awning, and there's 4 main things. The first of which was that we found that when it rained, it was almost impossible for us to stop water from pooling in that canvas material. That was even with guy ropes applied in between every single one of those legs and pulled down quite tightly. There was still some water that kind of pooled in that canvas up on top. Now, it's one of those things with these freestanding awnings and their nice strong frames, you can't do the old trick of lowering one of the poles to pull it down to assist in that water running off. You are kind of reliant on running those guy ropes in between those main arms. One thing I'd love to see added to this awning would be something I've seen on other 270-degree awnings, which is small poles that fold up on the inside of that awning, kind of where it mounts to the car, and that just raises that roof up by like 15 or 20 centimeters, creating a bit of extra angle for the rain to run off. For number 2, I thought would come across to the awning to demonstrate, and that's that even when this awning is pulled as tight as I can possibly get it, like it is right now, I find there's just a lot of extra play in this material. It's almost floppy, for lack of a better word. Now I'm wondering if this might be due to the fact of the water pooling that I mentioned earlier, especially in our first couple of months on the road. This area just here collected some real big pools of water, and then in every other trip we would then kind of pull this down really tightly every time we knew it was going to rain. So maybe that stretched the material, but either way, with it in its current state like this, kind of on all the panels as well, when it does get windy, because the awning isn't pulled tight, it does tend to flap around a little bit just like that. Not the end of the world, but something I thought was worth mentioning. We'll touch on number 3 while we're over here as well, and that's that we've actually experienced a bit of wear damage on the awning itself. There's a bit of a hole just there, and if I spin this camera around, you can see that's that main hole there, and there's actually 2 more up above there as well. And these 2 lower ones actually perfectly meet. So what I'm thinking is that maybe when this awning kind of folds up, that must be creating some sort of rub point with the rest of the frame. My first thoughts when I saw the hole from the outside was maybe like damage from an ember from a fire or something, but when it first showed up, we're still in a full fire ban here in WA, so this had not been set up near any fires, so I presume it must just be some form of wear damage. And finally, number 4 is not so much a problem with the awning itself, but with the price point of the wall kit you can buy for these awnings. So they want roughly $800 for the full wall kit to completely close this awning in. And I reckon that's just a little bit crazy when the whole awning's only $1,400. So $800 extra for the wall kit was just well out of our price range for our travels. And we also didn't want to carry around an entire wall kit either. Now I'd be okay with that price point if they did also sell the walls as separate pieces, but as it stands, they only sell the wall kit in a complete package. My interim solution was just to use a cheap $10 blue tarp that I just cable tied up on whatever side of the awning the rain or the wind was coming in from, and then ran it down to the ground from there. It was a bit dodgy, but it definitely got the job done when we needed it to the most. But if you guys have any other more creative solutions for a single wall kit for this particular awning, let me know in that comment section down below. Next up, we're just going to rapid fire a few tips and tricks that Bianca and I have picked up while owning this awning, and there might be a few double ups from things we've already mentioned in the video, but hopefully there's 1 or 2 new ones in there. Number 1 is to, of course, make sure you tie this awning down nice and tight if you're expecting rain in between where those arms are, and I mean every single section. Start at the front at that middle piece just there and work your way the whole way around. You'll need 5 guy ropes to do that properly, and while that might not stop all of the pooling, it will make a massive difference. Tip number 2 is a bit of a quirky one, but it's actually to use this built-in D-zipper on the rear, which is designed to give you access up into your rooftop tent. What I found it's really useful for is if I'm cooking up on the under tray drawer just here, it creates a perfect area for all your cooking smoke and whatnot to head up and pass through the awning, so it's not kind of clouding in and underneath the awning, like your very own camping range hood, if you will. Next tip is to make your life easier by leaving these straps actually installed on the awning as you pack it all away. They fit in the bag super easily, especially if you link one onto the other just like that to have a smaller length overall. And that saves you a bunch of time when you're setting up the awning, and it's just nice to not have to store those somewhere separately in your car setup. Next tip is to make sure that when you're folding up your legs, that this little opening groove here is facing towards the main arm of the awning, because this actually rotates quite easily, and if it's facing another direction, when you try and fold it up, you'll literally just lever your leg out of place like so, which can be a little bit annoying when you're trying to pack away. It just pushes back in like so. So just make sure when you're packing away, line that groove up with the arm, then it will fold up with no issues. One more tip that's extremely important for this particular awning is that when you're packing it away and you fold that back section in like this, that's where the hinge naturally wants to sit. And the problem with that is the bag can't quite do up around that hinge. And it doesn't matter how much you push on this section here, that doesn't change down the tail section. So all you have to do, it's super easy. You just grab this with your hand and just push it forwards like that. And that simple motion changes everything with that bag. And now that zip meets up nice and easily. So make sure you're doing that every single time you're packing the awning away. And if you're finding it hard to fit in the bag, chances are that is the reason. And the final tip is probably something that applies to any product that has a zipper, but if you find your zips getting really stiff to try and use, obviously these are no problem, but if yours are an issue, spray the actual zip tracking itself with some dry lubricant spray, and it makes a massive difference. So we did ours probably 4 months ago now, just the one coating, and they're still working really, really well. I thought I might quickly touch on the mounting of this awning too in case anyone's interested, because it is a little bit more custom. So I didn't use the mounting brackets that came with this awning because they weren't going to work with my setup, because I needed it mounted in a very specific way, nice and close to the tent and in a very specific height alignment. So I ended up getting some custom brackets made up from Bianca's uncle. Actually, we can just see in there, and they actually run underneath my rooftop tent and are then bolted down to the canopy roof. They are 10mm steel, extremely thick, and there's 3 of those brackets on the side of the awning there. So that is nice and solid and allows for a nice streamlined mounting. Well, to wrap things up, in general, the awning has been a fantastic bit of gear. I reckon it's priced really well aside from that wall kit, and it's something we were extremely grateful to have on all our travels. I hope this has answered any questions you guys had about the awning, but if not, let me know in that comment section down below and I'll get back to you as soon as I can. Thank you so much for watching this video. Let me know in that comment section too if there's anything you want me to focus on for the next part of this review series, and I'll catch you in the next one. In case you're wondering what people see when they walk past while I'm filming, here's my current POV rig for the awning setup. Looking pretty trendy. All right, let's get to it.